All right, here's the cattle hide we've been tanning for months now, and it's done, it's dried. As you can see, it actually unstuck from the board. It was pasted down to and slid off. I think that's probably just because this board has so much texture to it, like just too much texture. But that's okay, it's plenty flat, that's not a problem. It looks good. We're gonna take it up here, put it on the table, get some of this extra fat off, and take a look at it. As you can see here, we have a lot of white stuff on here. That's probably mostly stearic acid. It's just a very highly saturated fat. It's very high in like deer fat. It's very high in the fat that's around hearts. So if you ever eat heart, you'll notice that the fat on there is just super waxy, and it'll even cool in your mouth. That's how high of a melting temperature it has. So highly saturated fats just have this really high melting temperature. So for instance, beef tallow has a lot of stearic acid, and you can actually dip candles in it and they'll burn at a normal room temperature without just, melting and falling apart all over the place. Again, what happens is that, the fats that I put on here are combinations of different fatty acids. Like there's no pure, sources of fatty acids, I don't think. So the liquid ones have sunk in more, the ones that are really, softer at, it probably got up to 90 degrees or, well, maybe 85 degrees while this was drying. So anything that would liquefy at that temperature would soak into the hide, and then it would leave this stearic acid and whatever else on the surface here. So usually we should just be able to rub this excess off. We may need to heat it up, it looks like. So, this isn't really coming off too easy. I'm just going to throw this out in the sun for a while. I'll just remove it while it's warmer and softer, because it's really stiff right now. It's more like a wax. So before we put it in the sun, I just want to see what we can get off of the flesh side here. Yeah, not much. There's actually less on the surface here, which kind of makes sense because this side is so, fluffy, that it would absorb more. The other thing that this could do, it should do, is liquefy the fat that's already in the skin and allow it to distribute itself deeper and more evenly throughout the fiber network, which I can only see as a good thing. So let's leave it out here for a couple hours and then revisit it. Okay, so it's probably close to 2 o'clock now. It is October, so the sun's not very warm, but this is warm. And look at how this stuff is still solid. I mean, it's softer now. It's going to come off a whole lot easier. But yeah, that's stearic acid for you, or whatever this is. I'm pretty sure that's what it would be. So check this out, guys. This is a lot of work. But I just figured out that if I rub it fast enough, with enough pressure, it actually melts that stuff. All right, I hung the hide up here in the greenhouse. I'm just trying to make this job easier. My meter says it's only 87 degrees in here. Let's see what the surface of the hide reads. I don't know if this is gonna be accurate. Looking like high 90s. Of course, the sun is actually, hitting that directly. So I'm just gonna take this down to the table and do what I can to get it cleaned up. I think this experiment is played out. I also want to weigh this. It's quite heavy. Well, I think the best method here is going to be the friction method. It gets everything warm enough to really melt the last of it, and it leaves kind of a nice polished surface. So, so I'm just applying a lot of pressure and a reasonable amount of speed, and I'm just going to wander by here and do that periodically to like maybe, this much at a time. It's pretty tiring. Finally got this buffed out. I didn't buff all of it evenly because parts of it didn't really have any of that stearic acid on them. So like over here, you'll see it looks a little lighter and less polished. Parts where I really rubbed super hard and got it hot, those are rather polished, like over here where there was a lot of it. And boy, that was a lot of work, man. Just like pushing really hard on this and going fast enough to get it to start heating up enough to melt that stuff. You can see maybe in here how there's still some down in the cracks, and with, you know, a little more concerted effort, I could probably get that to melt out too. I looked up the melting temperature of stearic acid. It's like 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's the brand. We'll take a closer look at that, and I'll take some good pictures of it. I don't know what it is. It looks like 3MEMWEH. It looks like some alien crap to me. Oh, I'm gonna weigh this too while I have it in a nice package. 8 pounds. Sounds about right.